I, Timothy Walz, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Minnesota, and that I will discharge faithfully the duties of the office of Governor in the State of Minnesota to the best of my judgment and ability. That's the oath of office that Timothy Walz took when he became governor of the state of Minnesota. It's the oath of office that Timothy Walz took as a member of the National Guard here in Minnesota. It's the oath of office minus the part about the Constitution of the United States when Timothy Walz was elected to Congress. Timothy Walz has no idea what it means to defend and uphold the Constitution, even to the best of his abilities. And why do I say that? Fox 9, KMSP, out of the Twin Cities, ran this story on Saturday. Well, let's see. Friday, maybe? Depends on how their time clock breaks down. Walz calls for robust conversation on carrying long guns on Capitol grounds. You are not carrying that weapon about a freedom or a statement. You're carrying it about intimidation, said Walz, and I just want us all to have that conversation. And just because you have the right to do something doesn't mean you can. He goes on and says, for goodness gracious, this is not something that inhibits your ability to purchase, own, shoot, or do whatever you want to do, but in the middle of a heated political debate on public land where other people come to carry that thing in a reckless manner is meant to intimidate, said Walz. That right there is an example of the words of the governor of Minnesota, a veteran, if you will, of the United States military, and will not demean the National Guard here. Timothy Walz demeans the National Guard by ever having been in it. Timothy Walz demeans the National Guard. He demeans the United States military by failing to remember what his oath of office is, and by doing what he can to the best of his ability to keep, defend, and protect the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the state of Minnesota. What Commissar Walz of the state of Minnesota, from this point forward to be referred to as the People's State of Marxisota, is actively advocating for is having people stripped of their God-granted liberty to carry a firearm on state property. State doesn't own that property. The people of Minnesota own that property. Governor Walz, Commissar Walz, over what he calls carrying that long arm or that long gun in a reckless manner. Governor Walz, I have been to countless rallies in this state. Countless rallies from the end of March until now. I've never seen a firearm carried in a reckless manner, ever. In fact, what I have seen are well-trained, thoughtful people carrying firearms, as is their God-given freedom and liberty to do here in the United States, according to the Second Amendment of the Bill of Rights of the Constitution of the United States. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed upon, Governor. I have yet to see anybody carrying a firearm in the state of Minnesota in a reckless and dangerous manner as part of a rally. I see reports of and videos of all sorts of criminal miscreants, thugs, and animals carrying firearms in reckless and dangerous manners all over the place in Minnesota. Let's say chiefly in the city of Minneapolis right now, where gun violence is on an incredibly skyrocketing rise. Why? Why is that? Well, because the city council and the mayor of Minneapolis, post death of George Floyd as a result of intoxication, have decided to demean and belittle law enforcement and strip them of their funding in favor of social workers. I don't know what they're, I mean, granted that whole budget thing is all up in the air and nothing's been settled yet, but that's the direction they're headed. So the only people in the state of Minnesota that are recklessly bearing firearms are people who voted for you, Gov. People who voted for you. People who voted for Joseph Biden, if they voted at all. But if they did, they voted for Joe Biden. They voted for Ilhan Omar. They voted for John Thompson. They voted for other leftists who have forgotten what the oath of office means. Gov, Commissar. Those are the people. Here's another person who recklessly carried a firearm. How about the man here in Minnesota who just a couple of weeks ago was arrested for brandishing his firearm in a health club because people weren't wearing masks and the staff wouldn't make them. And when the manager on duty at this health club, in a lighthearted way, said, well, if you'd like to pay me to go around and enforce that, I'll gladly do it, the man decided to brandish his firearm at him. And then summarily had his weapon taken from him and disarmed by the manager of the health club as the man marched into towards the center of the health club, where the manager thought that this masked Nazi was going to start shooting people. That who was recklessly brandishing and carrying a firearm for the sake of intimidation. So no, Governor Walz, the people who are recklessly brandishing firearms for the sake of intimidation are not the Patriots and the Constitutionalists of the state of Minnesota. It is the people who support you, you communist shill, you Marxist pig. No, I don't respect you, Governor. And I don't work for you, Governor. You work for me. And you've forgotten that. And, oh yeah, by the way, there's another group of people who carry firearms for the sake of intimidation, Governor. That's your State Patrol security detail. Is it okay that they can carry their firearms for the sake of intimidation? I mean, is that okay because they work for you and you need to be protected because you're special, because you're more important than the rest of us, Gov? Commissar? Comrade? Is somehow being the commissar of the people's state of Marxisota make you worthy of being more protected than anybody else? Is somehow our Second Amendment liberty somehow not important in the face of your overreach? Somehow our Second Amendment liberties are reckless brandishing of a firearm for the sake of intimidation. But all of these people who support you, who are running around Minneapolis and committing carjackings and shooting each other and firing at law enforcement and brandishing guns in health clubs because people aren't wearing facial coverings when they think they should because you ordered it, and gosh darn it, it's the governor's order. All of those people, they're okay. But the patriots in the state of Minnesota who have yet to lift a finger to harm anyone, who have yet to threaten to hurt anyone, who have yet to take up arms against anyone who's attempted to hurt them, all of the Antifa pigs that you have defended and the Black Lives Matter miscreants and thugs that you have defended, and said we need to offer them a safe space to riot and protest. I mean, you haven't used those exact words, but that's really been your response. All of those people, all of your supporters, they're all okay. Not a word about the crime that's being committed, but you're going to go ahead and say we need to have a robust conversation about whether or not patriots who are law-abiding citizens should be allowed to carry a firearm on the property that they own, according to the liberty granted to them by God, the God of nature, according to the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States, the very document that you swore an oath to defend and protect and obey. You've forgotten yourself because you're scared. You're terrified. You can't handle it. And it shows. So yeah, you need to get over yourself, Gov. Commissar Walz of the People's State of Marxisota. You don't have the authority. You don't have the power. And God have mercy on any law enforcement official who tells you, yeah, go ahead, make that happen. Any person who's taken that oath of office at this point who defends any of the crap that you're pulling, Governor, should immediately be removed from their position, if not put on trial for violating the oath of office. It's an act of treason. And that's what you're advocating, Governor. That's what you're actively advocating. The only people you're worried about are the law-abiding patriotic constitutionalists. You're not at all terrified of the people who are criminal miscreants and thugs that will gladly burn down any neighborhood or community just so they can go in, loot a Target or a Walmart over any reason at all, while you sit back on your hands and don't do a thing. So no, Commissar Walz of the People's State of Marxisota, I don't believe you really understand that oath that you supposedly took for so many years. And as the governor of the state of Minnesota, you should be ashamed of yourself. It's time for you to be removed from office. You've betrayed your oath and therefore made yourself an enemy of the Constitution. Sic Semper Tyrannis.